Ndi-Igbo, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be discussing Ogwu. Now, what is Ogwu? Ogwu is simply alchemy. It is the transmutation of energy, substances, or bases with a direct intention to command a reality that falls outside the natural principle. In our case as Ndi-Igbo, Ogwu is the transmutation of energies and properties within herbs, within roots, and other natural and unnatural substances, giving it a consciousness to carry out a command. Now, many of us have dabbled or basically heard of how Ogwu has been used for malignant purposes, but at the same time, Ogwu can also be used for benevolent purposes. For instance, when somebody is sick, if you go to the hospital, what they are going to give you as at that point, it's simply Ogwu. Even if you go to the traditional homes and meet with the herbalist is still going to give you a specific Ogwu that he or she got through Ogwu and Ahia, which is roots and herbs. That's where they will extract whatever they're going to give you that would help to basically heal you. This is what Ogwu is. Now, at the second time, Ogwu being used for benevolent purposes, aside from basically healing somebody's health, Ogwu can be used for protection. Ogwu can be used for protection. Like our people got say, no, what you have, that's what you use to protect yourself. Now, there are other useful purposes of Ogwu that we use and we accept and we basically benefit from as Ndi-Igbo. But what makes an Ogwu bad or what makes it malignant is the person, the intention of the person that is instituting it. What the intention on Yahobi? What is that person trying to achieve with that particular Ogwu and transmit the energies? That's what makes it good, and that's what makes Ogwu bad at the same time. The length at which Ogwu functions cannot be truly ascertained because it tends to grow its consciousness and function outside of its prescribed function. For some of us who have witnessed the Dibia institute Ogwu, one of the affirmations or command the Dibia tells such Ogwu is that it should not take more than it was given. But sometimes Ogwu goes ahead and takes more than. Or when they are when they are done instituting Ogwu for a particular purpose, maybe people that want to use it to manifest wealth, then you will now see that they've promised this particular Ogwu. I'm going to be giving you maybe I'm going to be giving you an epidemic. I'm going to be giving you a ram at the end of every year or at the end of every time you do something big for me. Now, with time, that Ogwu has a tendency of growing its own consciousness. It will start to think more than it has been promised. Now, this is where our people will say that if that person will turn to an amosu without even knowing it, because the Ogwu will now basically start attacking the person's family, or will start attacking everybody that is close to that family. Now, for instance, many families have gone to divination, and they will tell them that one of their great ancestors used an Ogwu for so and so, and that Ogwu is the cause of their current misfortunes. Then the Dibia is going to go to the place and excavate or nullify the effects of that Ogwu. Now, know that there are so many skilled Dibias who can also institute an Ogwu, and they will now be able to hold it, making sure that that Ogwu does not function outside of what it should basically do. But if I'm being honest, it is a chance you should not take, because naturally, as Igbo people, we have natural principles. We'll talk about our chi and our ezumezu. We have natural principles that are already an embodiment of Ogwu on their own. So all these other installments all these other installments are no longer necessary. Now, one of the reasons why we are encouraged to look within while engaging in ordinary practices. It's because of this concept Ndi-Igbo refer to as chi no ha or mmuo or chi nezumezu. How they function as an organism, holding themselves accountable. Now, what this thing means is that, for instance, somebody acts in a certain way that goes against a person's ancestral spirits. Now, what this person's ancestral spirit is, no matter how angry the person's Ndi-Chi is, they will not immediately decide to, strike that person or basically do what they are not supposed to do. They will calm down because they are aware that this person is an extension of them. Now, the person's chi could now serve as an intercessor. The chi would now meet Ndi-Chi and Onwada or different entities within the family unit that this individual offended, and will now begin to ask and now try to basically seek for an extension. Please don't do this to this person. Remember, your chi becomes an intercessor for you, trying to defend you and stay the hands of your angry familiar spirits. But Ogwu does not do that because Ogwu falls outside of these natural principles. There is nothing that holds Ogwu accountable because in the first place, Ogwu is not supposed to be acting in your life. But because you have given it that permission, it now holds some kind of a precedence over you. And even as at that point, your chi cannot even liaise with that Ogwu. Your chi can only just try to, appear to you, try to tell you that this thing is a problem, that you should nullify its effect so that you can be able to live a more fulfilled life. But without you renouncing the effects or renouncing that particular Ogwu, that thing has a precedent over you. So because of this organic function that Ogwu does not have, this is the reason why our ancestors never agreed or will tell you that Madofonye Ada Eje, when they want to bring an Ogwu back in the day, it's something they did together. And when that Ogwu has served its purpose, they will collectively nullify the effects of such Ogwu. Now, to sound a note of warning, because most of us now are now having issues, especially young people that are now moving from Dibia to Dibia, Ogwu to Ogwu. Sometimes these Dibias are now using these things against them. And sometimes what they are doing is they're just using empty threats. They're now using empty threats to hold people. And many of us are falling into the hands of the wrong people and are now being spiritually manipulated. And they are now, or some of them are not even being manipulated out of fear. They're now being manipulated out of fear. And this is because as Igbo people, we have this mentality, we have this fear mentality of death. So most of these people are now using their Ogwu, their cheap Ogwu, to now hold you hostage, making our young people to be paying them taxes and submitting whatever they have to them. And sometimes all those things are empty threats because they're just using an empty shelf and pretending that there is some mythical thing that people are now being scared of. Again, when we now talk about Ndi-Igbo, we need to be aware that majorly what this Ndi-Igbo use its Ogwu, the chemicalizations of herbs, the transmutation of these herbs. Now, when they all do all those things, what they now use, what they know is the knowledge of what those herbs and those roots are doing or they are supposed to do. And that's what they mix together. And they use it to basically fight an individual. Now, for you to basically fight an Amosu, you need to know how to counteract the effect of their Ogwu. And one must be aware of the alchemical processes that can be used to render the Ogwu ineffective. That's the only way to save or help yourself when you're interacting with these entities we refer to as Amosu or in Ogwu situation. That's why when you go to a Dibia, when you have issues of Ogwu, the Dibia does not just sit and tell you, okay, pray, come to my mmuo, let's table this thing to our deity. No. They will first of all use a configuration. They will call it Ogwu. They will use a configuration, something they will get from nature, something they will get from herbs and roots. And they will repeat the process of counter-effecting the effects of that Ogwu. They will counteract it. That's why our people will tell you, Dibia borozo manozo bu Dibia. If you know how to do this one, do you also know that other one? So this is just the information I want to pass about Ogwu today. Yeah, Kasia.